It's been 2.5 weeks, but Michigan finally got its coach. Weirdly, lots of hate from Michigan fans. National media loves it. Let's talk about Kyle Whittingham, what that hire means for the Wolverines, right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports network. Thank you so much to all of our everydayers who check out the show every single day. And thank you for making us your first listen, probably on Saturday, because it is 6:51 in the PM. Did I say I'm your man on the ground? I don't remember what I did. Nonetheless, we are finally to Orlando, Florida. And as I was waiting at the airport, the hire happened. It hasn't been officially announced, but it's happened, essentially. And I got a call so I want to give this man his flowers first and foremost. I want to give Chris Ballas his flowers because he reached out to me last night. And he was like, hey, can you confirm this is some inside baseball. Can you confirm that there's a meeting happening tomorrow with the Regents and Ward Manuel? So I did. And he's like, okay, the reason I'm asking is because I'm pretty sure they are hiring Kyle Whittingham tomorrow. Apologies for the phone call here. With that, it's kind of hilarious watching how things play out. Now, it was Christmas Day. Kudos to Chris for keeping his ear to the ground even on Christmas Day. I was completely checked out. I was watching my stories, enjoying the day before packing and going through the hellscape that is flying. But nonetheless, I want to start off by giving Chris his flowers. Secondly, I want to address that if you checked out my hot board from a few days ago, I had him down the list. I had him at the same level as Jeff Brom. I want to clarify why. I can't tell you actually why, but I want to clarify why. Because in terms of, and I know if you're a rival fan and you're watching, you're listening to this, you're going to be like, you're just sucking up Michigan, everything. No. I have a reason why I did not want Kyle Whittingham to be hired. It should not affect what is going forward with this team. It's not religious if you think that's what it is. You'll never guess it if you try. It's not this massive, massive deal that precluded him from being or disqualified him from being hired. But I thought, okay, there's some things that I know from behind the scenes that made me a little bit about it. But in terms of acumen, in terms of being able to put together a winning product, a winning program, all of that, this is a fantastic hire. I know a lot of you are going to look at it as 66 years old. Listen, Pete Carroll was 59 when he got hired by the Seahawks and 74 when he got hired by the Oakland Raiders. Bill Belichick, obviously not having a great go. Maybe this is a bad example. Not having a great go at North Carolina. 74 years old, hired at North Carolina with a girlfriend that was born in what is it? I got my guy Tom here on the side. Was Bill Belichick's girlfriend. It's 2025 right now?
Yes.
So she was born in 2015, right?
Yes.
Okay, 2015. She was born in 2015. So anyway, silliness aside, signed to a 5-year contract. I think, that obviously is about the time frame that you'd think okay, at that point, you're going to want to look for another guy. Listen, that's fine. You need some stability after everything that's happened. We can't understate the damage that had been done in the last 2 years. And even outside of the damage that was done in the last 2 years, the damage that was done in the last 2 weeks could be insurmountable. So one of the things that I love about this hire, just in and of itself, and this is why it's okay, Whittingham or Todd Monken, one of those types of guys, more so than Jeff Brom. I maybe more than Kenny Dillingham, though. Kenny Dillingham was still my 1A until I think I would have put Todd Monken as my 1A, Dillingham my 1B. I think more so than Dillingham, though. He's going to bring a seriousness to this program that it requires at the moment. one of those things that I saw kind of people memeing about this. You had you went 9-3 this year if you're Michigan, while the coach clearly has other things on his mind. Obviously did last year as well. I'm not saying that was entirely why, but like, you know, clearly like trying to not only keep up a office romance while keeping it secret and lying about it and obfuscating it and all of the things that went into it. That takes some mental capacity. And now it's taking an actual toll on the players who are left behind. I sat on a plane next to a woman named Amy. She was an Ohio State fan, but she was like super cool, right? She was more of the mindset of me in terms of the way that I look at things. And she was like, oh, yay, Michigan's getting their coach. Like, you know, like that's going to be so good for the Wolverines and type of thing. Like, she's not like you know, I hope that everyone that you've ever loved dies in a horrible, suffering car accident, right? Like a lot of the others that you see. But nonetheless, when she was talking about it, she immediately said, I feel terrible about what those kids have gone through. And you needed a serious hire, a serious person to come in that's not going to silly season this whole thing all, you know, to death the same way. Like, listen, a lot of the Sharon stuff, the carryover from Jim Harbaugh, like, I get why it was getting made fun of. You know, my only objection was the people that thought he invented like the work shirts and all of that. No, that was a carryover. But the bigger problem for Sharon is it was constantly silly season because he was trying to wear a Jim Harbaugh mask while not being anything like Jim Harbaugh. Now you move on from that. Now you change the situation. Now you change the culture. Now you get into a scenario where there's going to be new faces. There will still, it sounds like, be some old faces that are around. I think that it's not the perfect hire. I'm not going to go that far and say it's the perfect hire, but I think it's a very good hire, minus my own thing that holds me back from saying it's a perfect hire. But he kind of comes with the same type of mindset, the same type of he basically marries very well to the personnel that Michigan has. Now, maybe that means you know, like there could be some growing pains with considering you've gotten a lot of you're trying to build a little bit more of a dynamic passing game. Not that they didn't have one before with JJ McCarthy and Roman Wilson and all of that, but like it's going to take some convincing, I think, you know, of some guys that are in that part of everything to come and play ball. But at the same time, he's got an amazing track record at Utah where he was since 1994, coached under Urban Meyer, replaced Urban Meyer, and continued to ascend the program. Right? Like it didn't just like, okay, Urban Meyer's gone and this isn't a David Shaw. I've seen some of you being like, oh, why don't we look at David Shaw? Did you see the end of Stanford? He basically was a caretaker of the Harbaugh program. And then when it was fully his own, it cratered. You've got a guy that had that same type of possibility at Utah and it didn't crater. I urge you to go, if you're a Michigan fan that is like struggling to come to terms with this for whatever reason, to go and just look at what some of the people who are fans of teams that had to play Utah in the Pac-12. There's USC fans all over social media right now that are being like, oh, goodness gracious, no. Look at the national media versus you, Michigan fan that, you know, wanted a different hire, and see how the national media are like, oh my goodness, Michigan just fell into somehow the best coach out there, right? Like just because you don't know Kyle Whittingham doesn't mean that it's not a good hire. So we are going to continue to discuss this hire. We're going to do so here in just a moment. But before we do, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thank you for making Locked On Wolverines your first listen of the day. Thank you for avoiding every other podcast that's been out there. I appreciate it. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. I need to get used to using this. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple people in there. When I heard about Whittingham last night, I probably could have posted in there. We're learning together. But come and join us. You can ask questions, then I'll at least get pinged about it. Hey, are there any updates? I'll tell you what I've heard. So it's $5 a month or $50 for the year. You get exclusive Discord server access. I am in it. Go to lockedonwolverines.supercast.com or check out the show notes to learn more. All right. Number one, I missed my teleprompter. I'll say anything I type in the teleprompter, anything. Right? I can't go full anchor, man. I can't do it. All right. We are here in Orlando. Team is set to arrive in an hour from me saying this. So excited to see who actually came. I want to address one thing because I know there's people that are like, what about Bryce Underwood? You think they're going to keep Bryce Underwood? Of course they're I would be shocked. This isn't inside info. This is just logic. Well, maybe it's a little inside info. Maybe a little bit from kind of the donor side. I don't see it likely or possible that he goes anywhere. Could he? Yeah. I just don't think that that's going to happen. Michigan will retain him. You don't understand how good the collectives are right now. I've also got to give Jared Wangler and Champion Circle, Nate Forbes, their flowers. They have done a phenomenal job of getting that thing. That's why you haven't seen a mass exodus. And we'll see when we go over to the Hyatt Regency. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, well, when we go over to the Hyatt Regency and see the team, don't go stalk them. Don't be weird about it. Just don't do it. All right, nonetheless, I don't think it's a secret, but nonetheless, I shouldn't have said it. We're going to keep it in, though. Nonetheless, I think that we'll see who ends up being around. There are some intriguing potential hires that he is supposedly looking at. You have Jason Beck. He's got I pulled up some of what he's done. He's just finished his 3rd year as an offensive coordinator. Jason Beck, who this year has Utah as the 6th ranked offense in the country. Not a lot of passing. Doesn't that sound like Michigan? Not a lot of passing, but he didn't have Bryce Underwood. 3,237 yards rushing, 2,506 yards passing. He was at New Mexico last year. Jason Eck. 4th in the country. 3,043 yards rushing, 2,768 passing. Not so good at Syracuse's first year. Let's give him, it's his first year. It's a hard place to put stuff together. Who'd he have throwing? Dan Villari, I think, in 2023. 98th. No, Dan Villari was a tight end. I don't remember who they had then. It wasn't Tyson, whatever his name was. But 98th in the country. Utah the year before, Jason Beck, so 2024, had an offense that wasn't terribly dissimilar from Michigan in terms of production. It was a little bit better, but 115th in the country. And rose all the way with this guy to 6th. And they actually like to smash in the way that, not the way that Sharon was talking about it, apparently, but certainly like to run the football. If you have any doubt that Savion Hyder is going to have wandering eyes, doubt no more if this is your offensive coordinator hire. Jay Hill is supposedly who he's got on target for the defensive coordinator position. I didn't write down his stats, but it's relatively equal to what Michigan's put out there the last couple of years. And some of you might not love that, but keep in mind, Michigan's had a top defense, regardless of how some of the games have gone. Guy that is currently at BYU and had spent a lot of time at Utah. It's going to be interesting just seeing the culture shifts and stuff like that for who do they bring? Do they bring some players? Do they, hey, can you go get Celesi Moa, who committed to Utah? Interested in Michigan. Now, now it's well, bro, you should just come on over. I know there's some people that have some compunctions about the idea of him, Whittingham as a recruiter. None of that exists anymore. Jim Harbaugh was like I got into an argument with my guy Clayton about this. Jim Harbaugh was not a voracious recruiter. He had his moments, right, where he's doing sleepovers and climbing trees. I saw the tree that he climbed outside of David Long's house. You search the internet, you can find video of me interviewing David Long while he was a recruit talking about it. But you know, like generally Harbaugh was kind of more of a closer than he was like let's really go out and get this guy. Now it's even more different. Like it's the GMs that run these things. It's the position coaches. It's the recruiting department. Like it's a different type of deal. What's going to be really interesting to me is just to see how a guy who was at a really difficult place to win, who managed to win a lot, won 10 games this year, only lost to 2 playoff teams. Why is it making noise? The watch should make it so it doesn't happen. Listen, we're trying to get everything in a row here. We're traveling. We've got a makeshift setup here. And I already have problems when it's not a makeshift setup. But like I'm really curious to see how Kyle Whittingham handles being able to like take a big step up in terms of NIL and resources, ability to maybe pull some different coaches, keep the coaches that have already acclimated themselves to everything in Ann Arbor. I think it's going to be really like scintillating. And honestly, he's just like a tough, hard-nosed guy. He's gotten praised by everybody, except for a lot of you Michigan fans. So get on board. So where does everything go from here? Let's talk about that. Let's do that here in just a moment. But before we do, there's nothing like college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever, but actually getting tickets, that part, it used to be frustrating. You had long queues, you had logins, and prices jumping at checkout. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Hey, do you want to go to the Citrus Bowl? You want to come down here to Orlando? You know, maybe get your Galaxy's Edge on, go to Pandora, and then just like, you know, go watch Michigan football in actual nice weather where there isn't sleet and a bunch of dumb Michigan happening outside. Well, you can do it on the cheap at Game Time. Prices actually go down the closer to kickoff too, by the way. So come down, experience Florida, enjoy it. The zone deals are amazing. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats. You've got an app that's really easy to use. You got the seat views, which is absolutely incredible. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONCollege. So download the Game Time app today. All right. So where does Michigan go from here? What do I think? How do I think this hire will go? I think that this is, like I said, Michigan really needed a serious person, someone who can stand on business. They don't need a buddy coach. A buddy coach is how you go 8-4, 9-3, 7-5. Like maybe you step up and you beat Ohio State and, you know, with no quarterback in Columbus. To me, it just becomes more obvious that these players were like just, being talented. There was not like a coaching advantage that was happening. Yeah, and there was some. Like, I'm not going to pretend like there was none. The run fits that Michigan had were generally phenomenal. But it didn't work in the games that they needed it to. So you've got someone that isn't going to be distracted. Someone had pointed out on social media that they went to Kyle Whittingham's Instagram page. He only follows his wife and daughters as far as females, and he hasn't posted in 10 years. Perfect. Not distracted. I understand there's some that look at it and say, well, Utah pushed him out. Go and look at the reaction of the Utah fans right now. That's a really important thing, is to understand in some cases, like, yeah, like Todd Monken was not looked at by Ravens fans is like, man, got to keep this guy. That's true. But it's important, like you see, like how the Louisville fans acted when Jeff Brown was on the radar and how they're celebrating, how the Arizona State fans were celebrating Dillingham not going anywhere. Now you see Utah fans being like, they are pounding their head right now. They're like, are you serious? Like, this is what's happening? They're kind of apoplectic. I think that having a guy like him is great. I'm going to be curious to see the staff he builds. That's the most important thing. Those guys I just mentioned, that offensive line coach that looks like they're going to pilfer from Utah, who's from Maumee, Ohio, and already has the really good relationship with Malachi Lee and some of those types of guys. I feel like this is going to be a keep Tony Alford type of deal, I would imagine. I've seen some, again, not my intel. Don't want to pretend like this is my intel. Seen some scuttlebutt that Sean McGee will be retained as well. I think that's a great thing. So I think the sky is kind of the limit. You've seen how quickly you can go from being like a meh team to really good with someone who's serious. You saw that with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh kind of veered off into silly season from time to time, even initially, but he was serious. His players were afraid of him. That's a good thing in a lot of ways. You don't need to be the players' friends, okay? Like, that's not what football should be. There are some troubling things that I'm not going to mention here where it's like, bro, come on. You cannot just sit and be a friend to that guy. You got to whip him into shape a little bit. That's why that guy is not doing as good as he should. I'm not talking about Samaj, by the way, because I feel like that's what everyone's going to jump, the conclusion that everyone's going to jump. So I think it's a really, really good hire. Do I have some reservations? Yes. Do I think that those reservations, again, I apologize for not speaking about them publicly. It would not be a good idea. So we're not going to do it. I think that like it kind of is maybe a bygones are bygones type of thing. Okay. And I think, okay. He's got the track record. He's built cultures. Players have loved him, but he isn't like a cuddly teddy bear either. He's won constantly at a place that is extremely hard to win at. Heck, he's beaten Michigan 3 straight times. He beat, this credit to my nemesis, Patrick Barron. I thought about, and I wrote about this, I think, over the weekend when I did my hot board. He beat Brady Hoke and Jim Harbaugh, but he also beat Rich Rod in his first game, Harbaugh in his first game. Didn't beat Brady Hoke in his first game, but still. All right, we're going to keep that short because I don't actually have a lot of time here because air traffic control apparently had us all delayed. So anyway, on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you again soon. Peace.